Hey, Mark Flaw, your bid coach here today. I am with Jim Pillans today, and I'm super excited because he's going to have some great information for a lot of the questions that have been coming out lately about SBA, the different programs that are available, grants, loans, and whatnot. So I wanted to get it straight from the horse's mouth. Jim, I appreciate you being here so much. If you could, tell us who you are and what you are.
Sure. Happy to be here, and I know a lot of our small businesses are really hurting right now, so if we can be of any help, we're just tickled to death to try to do it. My name is Jim Pillans. I'm the director of the Brazos Valley Small Business Development Center, and let me explain what that is. We're part of a national organization. There's about 1,000 SBDCs scattered throughout the country, and we all do basically the same things. We offer low-cost business training, but the main thing that we do is that we offer a free confidential consulting service. We never charge for what we do. Whatever our clients tell us and give us is held in strict confidence. We don't share that with anyone. And we never benefit from anything that we recommend to our clients. Each center is a little bit different. Here in our center in Bryan College Station, we have about 75 years of experience of either running our own business or working with small business owners. So we try to help out where we can. Because we're a national program, we also have some resources available to us. We have a national research center in San Antonio that does nothing but research for our businesses. We have a government procurement organization in Houston that works with companies wanting to do business with the federal, state, and local businesses. That's all that they do. And of course, all of those services are absolutely free. Obviously, this time of year, we're averaging probably 50, 60 phone calls a day with lots of emails, just trying to take some of the unknown about what's going on out there in the marketplace and with programs that may be available to small businesses. And before we start this, I need to preface this that this is a moving program. It has changed some virtually every week that it's been out. And if you stop and think about it, this was signed into law on the 27th of last month and rolled out within a week period of time. And government agencies don't typically run that quick or
Right.
that efficient. So you can imagine that it came with a few bugs in it. And a few questions that had to be addressed as it was already being rolled out. And I think that's what we're seeing. So I would caution you on a couple of things. Number one, make sure that the information that you're getting is current and correct, because what may have been right last week is not right now. And so make sure you go to one of the main sources such as the SBA or the U.S. Department of Treasury site to gather information. I can tell you that in some instances, some of my clients have contacted me, and my information that I have from the SBA is a little bit different than what the banks have got. So if you and your people would just bear with us, eventually we'll get the bugs ironed out of this thing. So that tells you a little bit about us. If you're in our area, and that's anywhere in the Brazos Valley, we'll be happy to help. And Mark, the information I gave you has our America SBDC website on it. And all anyone has to do is to click on that, and it'll locate the nearest SBDC to them, regardless of wherever they are located in the United States. So there's 1,000 of us. The only reason why people give us money is to help small businesses succeed. And we get funding from the SBA, but we're not part of the SBA. Every center has to have matching funds. Our funding partner here is the Brazos Valley EDC. Most other SBDCs are in a college or university, but we're a little bit different. But we're not part of the SBA, but we get funding from them and certainly work very closely. So I can just jump into what we want to talk about, or let you take it from there.
No, that's actually, that's great information. So I'd like to give everybody a backstory on why I'm actually talking with Jim today. So my wife and I actually own a furniture store here locally, 10,000 square foot. It's not a little bitty thing. And Jim has worked with us since the inception of that. It's been about 3 years now, I believe.
Mhm.
And anyways, this conversation started because of what we were looking into and my wife was looking into in regards to the current SBA loans that we had. Um, After looking at this and some of the documentation that my wife has been forwarding to me, it became very apparent to me that a lot of the contractors, we literally reach thousands upon thousands, actually hundreds of thousands, if not more, subcontractors daily. And it was amazing after some just very small conversations I had with a few, they had no idea that this help was really out there. And on top of that, the ones that did said, man, it's going to be so much red tape. I don't even know where to start and I don't even know what to do. So that prompted me to have this conversation with you to be able to let them know, yes, it is out there and it is real. However, I really appreciate your caution at the same time. And that's something I think we all need to be aware of. Now, subcontractors and vendors and suppliers are very used to filling out pre-qualification forms, and they know that process. If they don't put in the correct information, it's going to get kicked back. Much like going to get a loan, if you don't put in the right information, it's going to get kicked back. So I think that's going to be something super important for anybody that's going towards any of this help that's out there, and that's exactly what it is. It is help to make sure that you're accurate with the information that you're submitting. I think I'm going to guess, maybe Jim, you can tell me, there's probably millions of people applying for different types right now.
Yeah, so there are 30 million small businesses in the U.S. I don't know of very many that aren't hurting.
And
So there's a lot of applications.
and to be clear too, so and I learned this just recently too, that a small business doesn't necessarily mean that you have a small business loan or anything like that. A small business is defined exactly how.
There's a lot of clarification in how they're defined, and it kind of depends most of the time in your industry, but a general rule is as long as the business has under 500 employees, the U.S. government considers it a small business. And because of this disaster, they changed a few rules that
Mm-hmm.
allows franchises and some hotels to be qualified where normally they wouldn't. But most contractors probably have fewer than 500 employees. And if you have more than that, then you can get with your SBA district office and see if you qualify or not.
Is it based on revenue as well, or just
Well, revenue doesn't matter.
Good
It's
to know.
a number of employees typically.
Okay, fantastic. Also, after this video, I will post something that Jim sent to me earlier, a link to it. It's a spreadsheet with all the comparisons of a lot of different questions that were in there, different information. It's extremely useful. I'll show it when I edit this so that everybody will actually see this right now. Fascinating information, and I think it's going to help answer a lot of questions, and I'll make sure to provide the helpful links. I think the key thing that you mentioned, Jim, is the starting point would be the what was the website again?
So you mean for one of the for our services
Well,
or
for anybody that's not sure where to start, I guess it would be the national website.
yeah, so I would go to our ASBDC site, national site,
Okay.
and click on there, and then find the SBDC that's near you, and just call and ask questions. We're meeting with clients and non-clients alike, trying to help everybody get through this. And even though you're a small business and maybe you don't think you matter, if you don't get in line to get this money, somebody else is. And these programs are designed to not only help large businesses, medium businesses, but small businesses as well. And the small businesses are the backbone of our economy. They produce jobs. So we want to make sure that our small businesses end up being able to move forward after this is over with. So I would encourage you to apply for and try to get as many funds as you possibly can.
That's great information, and so I will make sure to post all that information here at the bottom of this video for everybody, so they know where to start if they're not sure.
Well, I'm a state employee, and I've been working 10-hour days and 7 days a week, and I don't think we're supposed to do that. So reminds me when I own my own business. But it's very important for us to get as much information out as possible, as quickly as possible, because all of these programs have a defined amount of money. And unless Congress adds to it, once it's gone, it is gone. So it's important for you to move forward.
Absolutely.
Mark, let me try to explain to people and your customers what's out there now to try to help them through this crisis. The first thing I want to talk about is the Small Business Debt Relief Program. If you currently have an SBA loan, whether it's a 7A loan, a 504 loan, or a micro loan, the SBA will pick up 6 months worth of payments for you for principal and interest. We had a communication from a bank earlier today that said, and originally when this bill first came out, it was a forbearance, which means that they would put those payments on hold for 6 months. That has been changed. Well, now the SBA will pick up the total tab, principal and interest.
Wow.
So the banks have already started that forbearance, meaning you just don't have to pay it, but it's added back in. You need to contact your lender, and I would advise you to not do the forbearance, but let the SBA pick up the payments on it, because it's payments you'll never have to pay.
Absolutely. And I'd like to just, so the forbearance in layman's terms, it's just postponing that. So if I owe $1,000 a month and I postpone it for 6 months, or forbearance for 6 months, in 6 months I'm going to owe $6,000,
right,
or whatever that should have been. Okay.
Yeah, and you have to pay it, and they may extend payments, but in this, that $6,000 just goes away. And so it's part of the stimulus package.
Okay.
The main program that the SBA has in years past is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And this is the same disaster loan program that businesses and communities have used for many years. So if you have a hurricane, a tornado, or a flood in a general area, then it normally covers personal property and business property. And also, if the business can't operate, then it does economic injury as well. In this case, since there's no physical damage, it's all economic damage. And this is called the EIDL loan program, Economic Injury Disaster Loans. This is the only loan program that the SBA does directly through the SBA. So you will go to the SBA website, and I've given you that information, or you can just Google SBA disaster loans. And this program has changed dramatically as well. I had a client fill out the paperwork the first week, and it took him 4.5 hours to fill it out. That's because 30 million small businesses were applying for that loan. So they made the application very streamlined now. And after you get through filling it out, you'll wonder, is there more to this form than what it is? But it's not. It's very simple. And it will cover, if everything goes correctly, it covers 6 months of all operating expenses if you qualify. Wow. So it can be a fairly large loan if you qualify for it. The loan is at 3.75% and can go up to 30 years. When you fill out the loan application, there's a part in there stating, are you interested in applying for a grant? Well, I don't know many businesses that wouldn't like free money, so always check that box. And there's a grant attached to this, which there's normally not, but there's a grant attached to it that you can receive up to $10,000 grant in addition to the loan. The grant, of course, never has to be paid back. There's conflicting information on how they come up with that up to $10,000. It has changed. Right now, we think it's based on the number of employees that you have. So if you're a sole proprietorship and you're the only person in your business, or maybe you have 10 or 15 other employees, make sure you count yourself as an employee so you can get a little bit more money out of that. But when you fill out that very simple program, you really have killed the bird with two stones. You apply for the grant and you apply for the loan. You may not think that you will need the loan, but it doesn't cost you anything to apply. You don't have to accept it if you get approved for it. And you can leave it in that account for up to 6 months and come back and get it. Then they'll start charging you interest. You have 12 months of no payments with that loan. So it's really a good program. They're saying 4 to 6 weeks, they'll let you know if you qualify or not. But the grant, the policy says within 3 days. I haven't found a client yet that has received that grant, so I don't know what their qualification is. Okay. Originally, we thought was when they filled it out, or maybe it's now when a loan officer is assigned to it. We don't know. But that's supposed to be within 3 days. So I would encourage you to fill that out. The other main program that people are really referring to and talking a lot is the Paycheck Protection Plan. Mm-hmm. This is the plan that is new. You apply through a bank. So if you have a bank relationship with someone, call them and ask them, are they doing these PPP loans? Not all banks are. Some banks are only going to take care of their existing customers. But you can usually find a bank that will do it, and they're supposed to open it up to online services and other banks as well. In this particular program, the way that you qualify is after you determine what your average monthly payroll is, you get 2.5 times that. So if you have $10,000 a month in payroll, then you qualify for $25,000 under the PPP. The good thing about this program is that if you meet certain qualifications, meaning that during that 2-month period, if you spend at least 75% of that money on payroll, and it allows you to spend money on other things such as note payments, electricity, utilities, if you spend at least 75% on payrolls instead of a loan, it turns into a grant. Once again, I don't know of many businesses that wouldn't prefer having a grant. My understanding is it's not an all or nothing thing. So it's not 100% or nothing. There's something in between. Mm-hmm. For that portion that turns into a loan, it's at 1% for 2 years with no monthly payments for 6 months. Now, obviously, the government's not going to allow you to double dip, so to speak. Mm-hmm. You go to the idle loan and get payroll funds there, and then you get payroll funds from this payroll protection plan. So eventually, one of them may be reduced some, but that program is supposed to be funded within 5 days of after the bank has uploaded the information to the SBA website. And I think when you were referring before about filling out the information correctly, this is a new form, a new procedure that the banks have got, which they had never had before. And so it's going to take a little while for them to work those details out. But this is a good loan in that there's no personal guarantees. It doesn't matter about collateral, and credit elsewhere is not a test. In fact, I'm not sure if they run your credit score. It's really based on payroll. You prove payroll, mm-hmm. you virtually qualify for the loan. Where in the idle loan program, that does require collateral over $25,000 and personal guarantees, I think up to $200,000. So the loan programs are different. You can apply for both at the same time, and I would encourage you to do so. And then that gives you options in case you're approved for both. In years past, we've worked a little bit with the disaster loan program through people coming up from Louisiana or Houston that had floods, and not a large amount of people qualify for that loan because they do credit scores and You have to be profitable before and some other things. I would encourage you to fill it out because it's got a grant. And I don't know what the qualifications are, so it doesn't hurt you, but a little bit of time to fill it out. So those are the basic programs that are available right now through the federal government. I would also encourage you to take a look at your community and see what your community offers. Houston just announced a $10 million, what they call bridge loan program. The cities of Bryan and College Station may introduce a bridge loan program by the end of the month. Our United Way program in Bryan has a small grant of $15,000. So I'm telling my people not to leave any rock uncovered when it comes to money, because as a small business owner, especially in this industry, I saw it during the housing bust.
Mm-hmm.
When people aren't able to pay you, it hurts. And so as other people are hurting and they can't pay you, it's like a domino effect.
You can't pay
it
either.
affects all of the businesses all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, if you're not in line to get this, somebody else is. The program may run out of money, and probably will very quickly, but there's some movement in Congress to add more money to the program. So I would encourage you to call the SBDC near you, get some information, make sure you're getting credible information. It's changing all of the time. So try to get good information, and it's not that people are trying to deceive you. It's just a moving target right now.
I can imagine. We have our chief economist was talking to me the other day, and he does daily reports and always has. And however, he's finding, the models are shifting and changing so fast. The norm is unknown every single day. It's just, like you said, it's a moving target, and we see that across everything. And this is no different.
Right.
So that was actually really good. You answered a lot of questions that I was going to ask, so I don't even need to ask them. But I think in a nutshell, it's apply for everything that you possibly can.
Yeah.
And go from there. So
yeah.
Fantastic.
And one thing I forgot to add, especially with your group, is that sole proprietorships and independent construction people can apply for both loans.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right, Jim, thank you so much. This was far more than I had hoped for. And again, thank you for everything that you do for us personally, too.
Glad to help out.
All right, Jim. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
So this is Mark Flyer, bid coach again, and just really sincerely thank Jim Pillans for his information that he gave us today. Again, I'm going to have all the information here below, either in the video or in the article below, with the different links and everything that he talked about. I think I want to encourage everybody, even if you're unsure, to go ahead and apply for these. If you're a small business, as Jim said, 500 employees or less, there is potentially help out there for you. And the sooner you get to that, the better. So that's all for now. This is Mark Flyer, bid coach. Happy bidding. Stay safe, stay healthy, and be blessed.